Good evening, everybody. Mary Hunt here at Water. Delighted to have you on Monday, May the 11th, 2026, with Diane New here in the office. And Brooke just walked out. She's doing some, I think she just went out to the restroom, but Brooke is here working on more registrations for later in the week, and we're delighted to have her with us. And we are set to move into our evening on Kwan Yin and a time for compassion. And we are graced to have Cynthia Tootle with us, who is an expert on goddesses. I'll talk more about her in a minute. And she will rely on the Buddhist goddess Kwan Yin for help with compassion in these very difficult times. Last month, Jean Christensen, here present, suggested that we rest in the time of chaos. It's mine, she says, and you can't have it or me. And that was an impressive presentation. Jean, thank you. It's on our Water website under Water Meditations and her name. She encouraged us to find time to rest and to refresh and to renew our spirits to survive in these vexed and fraught times. And I urge you to re-listen to her wisdom. And I thank you again, Jean, for presenting for us. It was just terrific, and we look forward to hearing from you again in July. Let's turn then to the land acknowledgement, as we always do here at Water, to remind ourselves of why we do what we do and what we need to do more of, given the systemic injustices that Indigenous and other people of color face in this country. We acknowledge that we here at the office are on the Indigenous land in Silver Spring, Maryland, belonging to the Piscataway and Anacostan peoples. We acknowledge the trauma and the injustice toward them that is deep in the U.S. culture and history and right here on our land. We join in efforts to eradicate it and to make reparations for the genocide involved. Our work at Water is always to bring about social justice, no matter in which direction we're moving. Please consider, if you will, just for a moment, the Native people on whose land you sit. And if you'd like to list them in the chat as a way of honoring them, feel free to do that as well. As we begin our contemplative time together, I invite us to spare a thought for the inexplicable, in my view, the inexplicable urge toward war that grips so many people and repulses most of us. That any country, Iran or the US, would have nuclear weapons remains abhorrent. Let our hour help to soften our hearts and sharpen our minds, so that those who make such dangerous and foolish choices hear from us as often and as loudly as possible to change both their hearts and their minds. Take a moment. Thank you. Many of us know how we use this hour, but for anyone who's new or needs a refresher, we have a short presentation. Then we ring a gong to start 22 minutes of shared silence. Cheryl will be so kind as to put up the image that we use for our meditation tonight, which has been provided to us by Cynthia Tootle. It is Kwan Yin. After a period of silence, we'll ring the gong again and open the floor for any who wish to share their reflections. And feel no obligation to do that. Just be here. Take your time. Take your space. Please mute your audio now so that we all have a clear opportunity to hear the presentation. And then after we finish our meditation, I'll invite you to unmute as you wish to make your comments. Again, I'm delighted to introduce Cynthia Tootle, Water's nearest neighbor. That's, Cynthia, I always think of that as your distinction. You're our nearest neighbor. You live just 3 blocks from the office. Cynthia, as many of you know, is an engineer by training and vocation. She had a long career with the federal government when it was a challenging and reliable place to work. I say that in the past tense. She's now retired, embracing her calling to the ministry at the Takoma Metaphysical Chapel, where she often presents very popular programs and brings her considerable pastoral skills to bear. Cynthia is an expert on goddesses. For a while there, I don't know if you're still doing it, but for a while there, she was picking one goddess a month to study and to connect with.
I still do.
Do you? I'm not surprised. She focuses on them and sometimes channels the messages that the goddesses offer to her. In January of 2025, she brought us Kwan Yin, and tonight she brings her back with a message of compassion. Welcome, Cynthia, my dear. We need Kwan Yin's compassion and your wisdom. I thank you for both in advance.
Thank you, Mary. That's lovely. And I bring you something that was extraordinarily impactful and difficult for me. I learned, like all of you did, that on February 28th, 2026, a U.S. ship launched American-made Tomahawk missiles at targets in Iran. While the politicians were debating the results, I was looking for reliable sources, and it became clear that one or more of those missiles hit and destroyed an elementary school, killing many schoolgirls and their teachers and staff. The number of schoolgirls reported killed was 150. Later, it was 80 or 60 or 80, as if a smaller number made it less horrible. I was particularly stressed, upset, angry, as I worked in the Department of Defense for 35 years. I worked with the Army. I was on the logistics side, not on the active Army, but I know the military. I was aghast at this for so many different reasons, and I'm sure many of you also reacted. And I was really struggling, I gotta say, for days at how to possibly deal with all the feelings that I was feeling about this event. And it always amazes me how long it takes me to turn to the goddess and say, okay, I'm struggling. What can I possibly do? How can I make it better? Is there anything that I can do? And also feeling guilt myself at being part of the country that did this. And Kwan Yin, in her mercy, gave me a prayer, a process to allow some healing for me and for the others wounded by this event. So I share it with you tonight. Dear Mother God, we open our hearts to you now. Fill us with your pure, infinite love and compassion for all beings. Fill us to overflowing, that we might serve as channels of your love and compassion. We affirm that each little girl who passed on February 28th is greeted by Allah with the greatest love and joy as she passes through the veil and into his presence. We ask you, Mother God, to send your love and compassion through us to comfort and hold each girl's mother in her grief. We send your love and compassion to each girl's father in his anger and powerlessness and grief. We send your love and compassion to each girl's brothers and sisters in their loss and confusion. We send your love and compassion to each girl's grandparents, aunts and uncles in their grief. We channel your love and compassion to the teachers and staff who lost their lives but face Allah, knowing they could not protect students. We channel your love and compassion to their families and friends. We channel your love and compassion to the teachers and staff who survived the attack and must live knowing that they had not protected their precious students. We channel your love and compassion to the U.S. sailors who pushed the buttons that launched the missiles that they thought were going to a righteous target, but killed 150 schoolgirls and must live with that knowledge for the rest of their lives. We channel your love and compassion to the U.S. sailors who loaded the missiles for launch that killed the schoolgirls. We channel your love and compassion to all the U.S. sailors who were on the ship that launched the missiles that killed the schoolgirls. We channel your love and compassion to the intelligence agents who gave the targets that ended up killing 150 schoolgirls and must live with that knowledge for the rest of their lives. We channel your love and compassion to the officers and the entire chain of command, from the U.S. President down, that ordered the launch that killed the schoolgirls and must live with that for the rest of their lives. We send your love and compassion to the people in Tucson, Arizona, who made the Tomahawk missiles that killed the schoolgirls in Iran. We send love and compassion to all the citizens in the United States whose tax dollars were used to build and launch the missiles that killed 150 schoolgirls in Iran and must live with that for the rest of their lives. Mother God, we pray that your love and compassion release all from feelings of guilt and pain and empower our resolve with humanity that should be and can be better than this. This violence may have been unintended by everyone for whom we prayed, but the world structure in which we live caused and allowed it to happen. Let each and all of us commit to choosing love and courageously face the changes needed to disassemble the current structure and create a world safe for every little girl in every classroom. Thank you, Mother God, for hearing our prayer. Our hearts are open for your answer. Amen. And that ends the process and prayer given to me by Kwan Yin.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Kwan Yin. May we receive this with open hearts and minds. And now I will ring the gong. Cheryl will put up the image of Kwan Yin for our reflection, and we will have 22 minutes of shared silence. With gratitude to you, Cynthia. Thank you again to Cynthia Tootle and to the Buddhist goddess Kwan Yin. This was hard to hear, hard to process. And for that, we thank you. The floor is open for anyone who would like to make a comment, share a fruit of their reflection. If you'd like to do so, if you go to the bottom of your screen where the reaction button is, and you simply raise your hand, it will take you to the top of the queue. As you can see, my hand is up and I'm at the top. And then when I finish, I lower my hand. So for those who would like to make a comment, please say your name, maybe where you're from, so we get a richer sense of who's here, and then make your comment. And we're quite a few people tonight, so if you make your comment brief, that'll help us to hear from as many people as possible. And again, it's a hard topic, and not one that we want to debate the politics of, but simply to share what emerged for us in our reflection. The floor is open. We always finish by 8:30 Eastern time, and then we leave the Zoom open for people who'd like to talk for a few minutes after that. But we do honor your time, and we'll finish by or before 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Again, with thanks to Cynthia Tootle and to Kwan Yin. The floor is open. I'd like to offer just an opening comment, and that is that when I got to the end of the meditation, as it was read, not the meditation time, but as it was read, all I could think of was, yes, how much sense it makes. How much sense it makes to love and to forgive and to be compassionate toward everybody, including people who may, in fact, have perpetrated horrible things in this world. Because holding on to that really helps no one, and letting go helps everyone. So I really appreciate that, Cynthia, as a rich part, at least what I took to be a rich part of your reflection. Thank you. We'll hear from Paula and Ed.
My meditation took me to the many people that were touched and pained by each of those girls, their siblings, their parents, their grandparents, all the folks in the town that knew them. And it made me want to pray for all of them, for compassion for all of them.
Thank you. The floor is open, and if you don't want to use the raise hands button, you can just wave your hand and I'll notice you and acknowledge you. And please, when you do join the conversation, please unmute and state your name. Go ahead, Janet.
I'm Janet Rosano, Sister of Mercy from California. And I'm just currently in the process of moving into our assisted living convent here in Burlingame. And so, my life and my possessions are in flux. But what drew me to tune into this reflection is that in the past, I read about Kwan Yin, and I have two images of her in my room here. One is very similar to the meditation picture we had, and Kwan Yin is holding a jar, and my understanding, if I can remember what I read about her 20 or 30 years ago, was that that jar was like an endless source of mercy and compassion. And the other image that I have is Kwan Yin sitting in a meditative sitting prayer position with her hand touching the ground beneath her. And I can't remember exactly the significance of that, but it's, maybe it just says something that she was very much a part of our human earthly experience. And after listening to the litany of prayer for all those connected, I think it brought me back to that jar of mercy. And I think it's hard for me to wrap my mind around that much love and compassion for that many people. And it's good to be called back to that.
Thank you, Janet. I'm sure Cynthia Tootle can tell you what those things mean in the iconography of Kwan Yin.
Well, what she said was very close. The hand touching the ground was the symbol of reaching enlightenment, because Kwan Yin is a woman who has achieved enlightenment. And the vase, they call it the containing the dew of heaven, but mercy is certainly a good way to translate that. No, you're right on.
Thanks so much. And appropriate that a Sister of Mercy would have cast her eyes upon that, of course. And you, Janet, for your many long years of prophetic witness. Thank you. The floor is open.
Put a thing on. Yeah, and put your hand up again.
I see it. Go ahead.
Okay, Rita.
Go right ahead, Rita.
Is that myself?
Yes,
Rita Mary.
Rita Mary, her very self.
I have to thank Janet for the way she expressed her experience through the meditation. It's one thing to experience compassion for those who were the victims of a horror. But as she began to move forward in forgiveness of and compassion for the people who were involved in perpetrating, from beginning in Phoenix to the action on the day of, it became harder for me to stir up compassion. So it's I know it's a grace, but it's just difficult. As you said, it's difficult to listen to even. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, it is. It is a challenge. Rosemary Ganley?
Hold on just 1 minute. And Rita Mary, that was Cynthia Tootle who was leading us, and not Janet who responded. Rosemary.
Yeah, I was responding to Janet the way she expressed her response during the prayer. Yeah, just the difficult moving.
Thank you for clarifying for me.
Thank you. Let's move on to Rosemary Burns Ganley.
I found that because of Cynthia's offering, I was moved in the direction of compassion, because I've been simmering in rage, and that's a lifelong experience, and it's historical. The cruelty of humans to other humans and the guise under which they do it is an eternal reality. And I need to open myself to that change that Cynthia speaks of in order to get from day to day, and not to contribute to the bitterness, the anger, and the rage that doesn't have a positive effect. So I thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you, Rosemary. There's a lightness, isn't there, after even letting some of that go?
Yeah.
Which in no way exonerates or promotes or allows even, but there's something in that whole process of entering into compassion, even for those most heinous perpetrators, that lightens the load somehow. I want to live like that. We're going to have to help each other. I'll help you, Rosemary, if you'll help me. Maureen? Go ahead.
Yeah, when I was listening and then reflecting upon the actions that I heard expressed, I realized the word container came up for me. Like, somehow there's this notion of Earth is a container where life is at play for us, and we experience events and feelings and emotions within this container. And I think what I appreciated when I listened about this goddess of compassion is really there's something so and it's not to negate our actions and our helpfulness and our reactions on this planet, but that there is this like ocean of divine mercy somehow that I need to be attuned to, sort of for a staying power for my life, to do what I think is important to do, to be present in the encounter of each person I meet. And I thought, it's really just this overwhelming sense of love that can be experienced, but I feel like in moments we just get like enough for a taste bud, not the full immersion.
Thank you.
So,
Great.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Would anyone else like to share? Judy Heffernan?
For 35 years, I worked for the child care program of the School District of Philadelphia. So to think about how all those people in that school must have been feeling. Sometimes if an airplane came over loudly over the school, we got scared. And I can't imagine, I mean, I can now, but it's so difficult to think of what those people were going through. But on the other hand, I appreciate Rosemary's simmering in rage, because every time I hear those in power in the United States talking about the horror of Iran having a nuclear weapon, which I agree, but we, the United States, are the only country that ever used an atomic bomb. And we dropped the second one because we didn't know what to do with it afterwards. We had it with us, so that's why they dropped it. It is so heartbreaking. And the Philadelphia Library, once, many years, of course, after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, had a workshop and a display and a movie of the aftermath of when the bomb was dropped and the people in the hospital and just the staring. But then they showed these pictures. My friend, all the way home, I didn't understand. What was it? You know, in the old negatives, when you would just see that image, that's what the people that were near the center, they were just shadows of light on the sidewalk. That was all that was left. So the horrors of war are just so real. And to think that we're part of it, we're the main impetus of it, the main arms dealer from around the world. I do pray for love and compassion, but also for forgiveness for being part of this system and not knowing how to get out of it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Judy. There was a wonderful article today in the Global Sisters Report about work that was done at the UN last week, where a number of religious organizations, including many women's religious orders, did a review of some of the materials, and very much along the lines that you're describing. And it's a really excellent piece. I'll put it in the notes. I'll put a link in the notes. And it includes quotes from our own Mary Jelinek, who's a dear friend of Water. And she makes the very point that you do, that the U.S. not only is the only country that has used nuclear weapons, but also has tested them to the detriment of people and land in this country that will be generations getting over it. So very helpful. And when I think of Pope Leo saying that against Trump, that he didn't say that Iran should have nuclear weapons, well, he also should say that the U.S. shouldn't have them either. And I think that's kind of the elephant in the living room at the moment, that the U.S. cannot claim, in terms of the nuclear regulatory questions, that we should have nuclear weapons as well. And nobody wants to face that. Nobody wants to face it. But I'll add the link to the notes. The floor is open. Let me have maybe one more person, and then we'll close it up here, and then we can talk afterwards if people want to stay on the Zoom. Anyone else who'd like to make a comment, please feel free. Kitty, would you like to make a comment and unmute yourself, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank Cynthia for the Mother God. That was what struck me. It landed on my heart somehow, and my meditation was with Mother God, and it's so much better than Father God. But it opened my heart, and I just want to say thank you so much, Cynthia, for that. And I keep on thinking about Mother God.
Thank you. Cynthia, would you like to make a last comment, or are you finished for the night?
Well, I would just like to say that this was equally hard for me as it has been for you. I did read this publicly with my church. It kind of blew everybody away, but I felt like it was important for you all. I know the many years of energy you all spend to make a better world. And this just struck me so much as, it made me think, sort of after I got it done, of Martin Luther King, you can't overcome hate with hate. And so, that love and forgiveness has to go broadly to everyone. And I think, like the part about, channeling to us taxpayers, that inadvertently, without our permission, without our desire, we're part of this. And so I really felt it for me and for everyone, because I know so many people are horrified and upset that this happened, and that all the things that are happening, and feeling powerless. And I was happy that she didn't ask me to have the compassion, that I could only open to the divine compassion and channel that, because I don't know that I have the capacity to send love to all those people, but I will and choose to be the channel of divine compassion to the extent that I can. And that's part of my decades relationship with Kwan Yin. So I share it with you. Thank you for being part of this with me.
Thank you, Cynthia. It was a powerful hour, I will have to say that, and not one that we will forget anytime soon. With your permission, I will send the meditation to everyone, since you sent it to me. Is that still the understanding?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. So it will be in the notes, and you can use it for your own reflection. Again, with our thanks to you, Cynthia, and to Kwan Yin. And special thanks to Cheryl for technical help tonight, getting the image of Kwan Yin up for us. That always makes it special. I would like to just mention the next couple of water programs, one of which will be on Wednesday this week, 2 days from now, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, at 7 o'clock at night. 2 chances to join colleagues to discuss War Solves Nothing. Feminists Create Peace. This is the mid-year meeting of the Feminist Liberation Theologians Network, and we welcome everyone in the conversation, and there will be colleagues from I'm not sure where at this point, but in the time of global upheaval and war, and with the saber rattling going on, including the rejection of the recent peace proposal by Iran. I don't know where we'll be by Wednesday, but we'll be having this discussion. Also on Tuesday, it'll be at 1 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. You can register for either. The water ritual will be on Tuesday, May the 26th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Celebrate Beauty with Diane New and the water community, a chance to see and lift up the beauty of creation at this time of spring or fall in the Southern Hemisphere, but spring here with blossoms and abundance. And our next water meditation will be on Monday, June the 8th at 7:30 p.m. We still need someone to step forward to lead that. If you are feeling you'd like to share something, please contact me yesterday about what it is you'd like to do, and we will get you on the roster for June 8th. Otherwise, we will do something else. There will be an event, but we'll do something else. But we'd love to have any of you who have something to share and would choose to do that to step forward. And then July 13th, Jean Christensen will be back with us with another of her very meaningful meditations. So I thank you again. As you know, Water welcomes everybody. There's no fee. We welcome donations, of course. But as we always say at every program, if we share together, there's enough. And in the 42 years of Water so far, we have shared and there has been enough. So Cynthia Tootle has shown a gracious way tonight in the generosity of her spirit and of Kwan Yin. So once again, if we share together, there's enough. I'm going to leave the Zoom open for continued discussion if anybody wants to stay around. But in the meantime, I wish you an official good night from Water with an infusion of compassion for the month ahead. Thank you again.